Hello, Podcaster here again, and we are back for episode 152. And I've made a routing table, a golden railway ticket, and a switch lever, and we're going to apply these at the oil well shortly. First, I'm going to do or make a modification to this area. I've made a set of limiter tracks, and I'm going to add or put two of those here, if I can aim at the right blocks. One here and one here next to this redstone torch I placed previously, so I would know where to put these. Then we are going to take the crowbar, and this one is going to be set to level 1. The next one should be reverse. So there we go. So now, trains coming in from this track are going to be set to speed 1, and trains going out are going to be set to speed 4. And this will decrease the risk of being run over by a train, at least when you are within the station. Now, over here, in the oil unloading station over here, we have the fully outfitted oil train. I've added an anchor cart, and 3 tank carts with their filters set to oil, and I like how these icons are rendered in 3D. So yeah, so it's ready to head off on over to the oil well. So I'm going to set this off, and I'm going to follow it to the oil well, because I haven't run this over there yet. So we are going to see if it can make the trip with more than half of the power left, pulling all these carts. I know it can do it with just the locomotive, the battery, and a passenger cart, but I don't know if it can do it with 3 additional carts. But I'm going to cut the trip out because it's pretty boring to follow a train, and it's kind of a long trip. So I will see you in a little bit. Also, actually, by the way, I have updated the resource pack I'm using, made by Vexados. This one. I'm not going to try pronouncing that. From version 1.04 to 1.05. And it was updated because of a change in Railcraft. The texture for the limiter track changed because the reverse setting was added. So the texture sheet changed, which caused it to the default, or the item had a broken texture icon if you were on 1.04. So we updated it, and I'm now using that update as well. So I'll see you in a little bit when we are at the oil well. Alright, so here we are at the junction into the oil well. Train just came into view. I got here before it because it's quite slow, and I can run normally faster than the train. So I'm going to stop it before it gets to the intersection. And I'm going to slow it down a little bit. That should do. And now I'm actually going to wait for this rain to go away, because it is quite annoying. So I will see you in a little bit more. It'll probably be day by then too. Can't even see the moon right now. Alright, so the rain finally stopped. I had jumped into the water to get some food. I've been eating some seafood. Whoops. Got some from these water gardens. Water chestnuts. Don't think I've seen that before. Because I had started starving. So we have our routing switch motor here. I think I placed that in the last episode. We are going to take the switch lever. We're going to put that here, and we're going to turn it on. So now this switch track here is permanently going to send anything that comes from this direction down this way, which is what we want right now, because this train is going to go back to that base, because that's the only destination currently. Now, we have our golden railway ticket here that I made. It's just a piece of paper and a golden nugget. And we're going to set that to a destination. I'm going to call it Oil Well Alpha. That'll do. And then we're going to put that in our train. So its destination is now Oil Well Alpha. Then we're going to take the routing table, and we're going to set it to dest equals Oil Well Alpha, of course. And then we're going to right-click it into this switch motor. So now, if I turn this train on, it's going to be routed into here, of course, because that is what we set it to. We can speed this up again, so it goes at its maximum speed. And now I can't go in front of it, because it will kill me. Because it's moving too fast. I think anything at speed 3 or 4, any locomotive set to speed 3 or 4 will kill you. So yeah. So now it's going to go through here. It's going to catch the tank carts and load them up with oil. A little stuck there. I've added speed upgrades to these hoppers, because this one was a bottleneck for the transfer speed, because the hopper was transferring oil slower than the loader loaded it into the carts. But now it should be able to keep up with the loader. So, train's going to load up on oil, then it is going to head back to the base, of course. As you can see, I also added a Y track here, like I said. Didn't bother doing that on camera because it was just crafting a Y track and placing it. Not particularly interesting. But yeah, so the pumping seems to be working. Still have a bit of fuel. Not entirely sure how efficient this is, but it seems to be running fine. We get some action there. It's hard to tell how much oil has been pumped up from here, and I don't really want to jump down into the water right now. But seeing as it's filled this tank with about 128 buckets, probably shaved off a couple of layers, maybe. So this oil well was really big. It was maybe one of the biggest ones. So there is a chance that there will be an oil spout at the bottom. And by oil spout, I mean in the bedrock layer, there the train is leaving, there is a chance that the biggest oil wells will spawn a special block that will generate oil at a slow rate. So when you've pumped up all the oil from the Whirlgen, like this ball we see here, that we are using right now, the block at the bottom will generate a new source block eventually. And you can pump this up, and then eventually you will generate another one. So you essentially have an infinite source of oil that is extremely slow. It will generate a little oil over time. Now, because this ball of oil doesn't have a roof over it, because it's been cut off by biomes of plenty, deep ocean. I think that's what this biome is called. When the oil has been pumped up, water is going to flow down into the hole, obviously. Now, of course, I do have water generation off, so there isn't going to be any source blocks, but flowing water is still going to flow in. So, and I asked about this, and the oil spout will only replace air when it generates the oil. So it won't replace water or other oil. So if water flows in down to where the oil would generate, nothing would happen. So what I'm going to need to do is, once all the oil has been pumped up, I'm going to need to build a cobblestone tube that goes around the pipe from the pump up to the surface, and from the bottom, obviously. And then there's going to be a shaft of air all the way down. And the cobblestone structure's job is obviously to keep the water out, to make sure that the oil can generate. So that will mean that we are going to have a source of fuel that is renewable, although it's going to be extremely slow. Like, it's not going to be something we can power our base off of, I don't think. I've never actually used one of these. Now this assumes, of course, that this is one of those, but I'm going to assume it is, because otherwise I don't think I have a way to find out. I'm just going to have to assume that it is and make sure that it can generate oil, and then if it is one of these, it will generate oil. And then we'll see that we get more even when it's run out. So we'll find out eventually. What are you doing? Oh. There's some lag there. I've been talking during the entire walk back to the base about this, but as long as I have something to talk about, I guess the trip is fine. So we're nearly back. And the train still hasn't run out of power, which is good. I forgot to make note of the battery level when I was at the oil well. But it looks like we have plenty of power left, so we should be fine. But yeah, so I changed this. This routing table used to have a color condition in it. I changed this to a destination equals goods train. I might not keep that, but it makes more sense than the color thing that I used to have for some reason. I've also set this, which also had a not color thing, to have a not dest equals oil well alpha, because I decided on this name earlier before I started recording, just so you know. So that means that our oil train, since it is not, or since it is dest equals oil well alpha, it is going to go straight ahead. Anything that does not have this destination is going to be routed into the passenger terminal, if you can call it that. But I'm going to anyway because it's my terminal. So so we see the oil train coming in here. And it has plenty of power, obviously, as we established. But it's going to recharge here. Let's see if we can see how much power. This was probably just under 10,000, which means we have some margin, which is good, I suppose. Ow. Was that a creeper? Where did that come from? Dang it. Oh well. At least I didn't die. Also, I have 360 deaths. So, 360 death flip. Or something. Charging is quite slow. I might have to find a way to try to make it faster. Maybe there was some upgrade. I know this energy loader accepts IC2 upgrades, but I don't know if there is one that will make this charge carts faster. There's a Lapotron loader upgrade, but I think that just increases the storage capacity. I don't know if an overclocker upgrade will work in this thing. Ow. Dang it. Never mind about dying, I guess. No, I don't want that. I just want something quick to get the health regen boost. Dang it. Stupid zombies. Apparently I need more light sources out here. You're still there. I had a decent amount of experience too. Yeah. It can't go on the tracks apparently. That's interesting. Okay, so the train is unloading. Stupid zombies. Can't get to me here. But yeah. So we have a working oil train now, or should have. Obviously the oil well part is... am I going to have to relog to get my stuff now? My body seems to have ended up inside of this block, but it might be a desync issue, which I know happens with these corpses. It's kind of annoying, but oh well. We have loading here. So we should have oil flowing into... Ow. Right, don't have the... Come on. Stupid lag. I don't have the fall protection. So we have oil flowing into the reservoir, being pumped up by the pump here, put into the tank, and flowing into the refinery. I got the heat production going by updating this wire earlier to make this shut off. I'm not sure why the refinery has a bunch of diesel in it. I guess it's converting to kerosene? Yeah. Which is apparently the bottleneck at the moment. If you don't remember, I am producing diesel, aka fuel, and since I don't have a use for diesel or kerosene, I am processing diesel into kerosene, and then all of the kerosene into gasoline or fuel. And you can't go in the other direction, so all of the LPG I store here, and I store all my fuel here in this reservoir, and the iron tank downstairs at the bottom. And this reservoir is between 20 and 40% full at the moment. These had turned off for some reason. I had to turn them on earlier. I'm not sure why. I didn't check with a diagnostics tool. But that is weird. By now the train should have finished unloading and left. I guess. Yes. So it should be on its way. Why am I stuck? Can I get up here? Probably not. Oh well. It should be on its way to the oil well. Should be able to make it there on its own too. Because of the anchor cart, and should come back eventually, especially since there is a tank full of oil there waiting for it. Now there might come a point where the train will have to wait at the oil well for it to pump up enough oil to fill all of the tank carts, but I'm not sure. I don't know if it fills the carts faster than it pumps up oil or not. If it pumps up oil at is the same or a faster rate, then the train is going to run at maximum efficiency. Not that it matters, because it doesn't matter if the train has to stand there because it's electric, so it doesn't use power when it's waiting. Which is why I went with it to begin with. So yeah, kind of wish I could have a locomotive statue. That would be kind of cool. So I'm going to wait for the train to come back, and then I'm going to cut back just so we can see it arrive here, and then we are probably going to end the episode there because we are approaching the end. So I will see you in a little bit. Well, it's been almost 5 minutes now, and I've been waiting for the locomotive. I've recovered my stuff from my corpse. Seems it wasn't a desync issue, it had just been pushed into the wall, so I couldn't click it, so I had to dig it out. So I'm going to look for the train, see what it's doing, and I will cut back once I've found it. So I'll see you in a little bit. Ah, there it is. It was on its way, I guess. Seems to have loaded up with oil, just like it was supposed to. It's just a little slow. If I waited maybe 3 more minutes, probably would have arrived. So I'm going to run back to base, meet it up, and then we'll do the episode end, like I said. And that looks like the train finally arrived. It's been about 10 minutes. Just about. Maybe a little less. But just like seconds, so yeah, so it takes a while for it to get there and load up and come back. Like we've established, it's pretty slow. It's a slow train, which is one of the drawbacks, but it's efficient at least. It only uses the power it needs to, so I'm happy with it. So here it is arriving, and it's going to do its thing, unload the oil for processing, and then head back to get more. So overall, pretty good setup. We're going to have to give it some more attention once it runs out of oil, of course. But until then, we're going to have a look at some other stuff. Not entirely sure what we'll be doing in the next episode yet, so I guess that will be a surprise. Um, so yeah. So until then, I will see you in the next episode.